Well, what about the damn gift certificate?
Yeah. That's for y'all.
He
See,
just-
we need to all go together when we do that.
That would be
I'd
good.
love to. Welcome to the best outdoors program just off the shores of the mighty Red River. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show, the heart and soul of all things related to God's great outdoors. Starring Gary McCoy, an all-around outdoorsman with a CMA Award for Best Personality in Radio. A man who excels in the radio world and needs no introduction to the outdoors, whether standing tall in the winner's circle or sitting low in the deer stand. Mike Eccles, the boss, tournament trail director, and outstanding duck hunting guide with a wealth of outdoors knowledge who's not afraid to give his opinion with or without the facts. His years of bass tournament experience ensures that rules are followed and anglers are kept in check. And last but not least, Daiwa and Ranger Pro Steve Graff, a member of the Northwestern State University Hall of Fame with years of bass tournament experience who continues his pursuit of a double-digit bass and championship stringers. So let's jump on the front deck and make that first cast with the legendary minds of the great outdoors. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the one and only Steve Graff. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Boy, I got a lot of headphone there.
Yeah, I mean, you both.
Really loud.
Yeah, strong.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger. Gary McCoy, along with the old Ranger Iowa Pro staffer Steve Graff, the Mud Hen, Mike Eccles, straight from the duck blind. Any ducks?
No.
I mean, you went all morning, not a duck.
No, we killed one nice one.
One big old green-headed sucker.
Yeah, he was, and he came in like he was retarded.
But there was a dog that got a butt whipping this morning.
Yes, there was a dog that
He's on the endangered species list.
Yeah, he was exposed. We went past 110 to 220 because he didn't know how to behave. But
hey, thank you so much for tuning in. This part of the show is brought to you by Steve Nichols, Bucks and Bulls Guides and Outfitters, Despino Jim South Tire, and the Landing Restaurant of Natchitoches, Louisiana, and we just set a record on our Facebook page.
We really did. This is the.
I just said that just cause, you know.
Well,
I mean, we really did.
No, we really did.
No, we really
Wait,
did.
I'm telling you, we hit the peak right here. No, it's not the peak, but I guarantee you, this is the best one we've ever done of all the promotions we've done with Santone, V&M, Wonder Duck. This is a K2 cooler that we did right before.
You know, we get a new Ranger boat from Bayou Outdoors.
Oh, my
I bet we
God.
could set all new records.
Oh, we have to call Ranger. See if they'll donate us a 20-foot Ranger.
yeah,
All right. The total people reached 72,500.
This is with K2 coolers.
This is with K2 coolers and
Yeah.
967 shares. And we had a guy by the name of Mike
Eccles. Yay, wee!
Mike Stewart. He is from Kentucky.
Mike Stewart.
He is the
You
winner.
think he's listening right now?
Well, he needs to be because he hasn't responded to winning the K2 cooler, and if he doesn't respond, probably by midnight tonight,
Yeah.
we'll have to give it to somebody else.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the rest of the crowd said,
Oh,
Yeah, too bad's got you.
yeah, buddy.
So, but anyway, thank
Mike
you to
Stewart
K2
from
Cooler.
Kentucky.
Mike Stewart from Kentucky.
I wonder
That's what we ought to do. All you got to do is see this on Facebook, like it, share it,
Yeah.
make a comment or something, and you're eligible to win.
Yeah.
But we ought to make it to where you have to call in during the show,
Oh, wow.
or you lose.
Oh, wow.
That's something we could
You
do.
know, I mean-
interview the winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mike, if you're listening,
Yeah.
So how are we going to know if that's really Mike Stewart from Kentucky? if I slip off, say I got to go to the bathroom, and y'all get a phone call.
hey, listen, I want to remind you about the this year's Bass Cash Bash. A new addition this year to the Bass Cash Bash is the addition of Lake Fork. $100,000 going to be up for grabs on Lake Fork. That will go from March 1st through June 30th. However, January the 1st, 1 week from Monday.
January the 1st.
The 1st.
The one.
1 week from Monday through April 30th, 120 days to fish, $400,000 worth of tagged fish on Sam Rayburn. And how many did he say that was? How many fish did he say?
Is it 100?
I don't remember.
I want to say it's 100.
And each fish is worth like a different amount.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
several different amounts.
One of them's a boat. One of them's a truck.
Yeah.
And then you got different amounts for the rest of for the cash part.
But I'm going to tell you what. Initially, everybody's response to this is said, 100 fish, just like the tag fish for CCA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
there is a high percentage of these fish caught.
Oh gosh, yeah. Well,
no
they've
doubt.
already demonstrated the capacity to be caught. That's how they got tagged.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I believe that certain fish just don't hit artificial lures. Other fish are more inclined to do that. In fact, I can remember fishing with Jeff Pate down on Lake Bistineau 115 years ago, and he was catching some bass that afternoon, and he said, "I call these tournament pros." He said, they know the whole routine. He said, I throw up on that tree, and I know exactly where he's at, and it's the same one. You can see where he's already been caught 2 or 3 times. And he says, we go over there, and we release him over there at Grice's after the tournament. And he said, that sucker will be back here on this tree before the day's over with. Yeah. And so, you know, some fish are just like that.
Yeah.
Also with Bass Cash Bash, the one that got it all started, May 1th. Yeah. Through September 3rd, that'll be Labor Day, $400,000 up for grabs on Toledo Bend, and entry fee on that $50. Your bonus entry $70. That includes a bonus T-shirt, $50 per lake. I wonder, does he have one? He ought to have one that covers like all 3 lakes.
That may be something he's working on.
You know, you buy one.
I will say this for PD. Number 1, he's open to suggestion. And number 2, he's very creative with some of the stuff he's been doing. Mm-hmm. So this year is even better than ever. He's got great displays at Kurt Carver, Toledo Town and Tackle, and he's got a great display at hopefully what's fixing to be one of our newest sponsors at Sam Rayburn, Tackle Attic. So hopefully that's going to be another one.
On Sam Rayburn, 200 cash tags, each worth $1,000.
So 200, huh?
Yeah. Any angler who purchases the bonus entry will also earn an additional $500. There is also a Phoenix boat tag and a Ram truck tag. On Lake Fork, 60 tags worth $1,000 each. Somebody who purchases the bonus entry will earn an additional $500. And the largest Lake Fork bass, this is all on Lake Fork, over 24 inches, will win $2,500 in each month of March, April, May, and June. Toledo Bend, 200 cash tags worth $1,000 each. You buy the bonus entry, you will earn an additional $500. There is also a Phoenix boat tag and a Ram truck tag, and every Toledo Bend bass over 10 pounds wins $1,000. The largest bass wins $5,000.
And let me tell you now, people have asked me that have tried to are thinking about getting into it. It's like, well, how do you know where he's released it? Did he catch them all? No, he's hired 5 or 6 guys. Mm-hmm. They fish from one end of Rayburn to the other.
Same on Toledo.
He gives each guy so many tags, and they catch those fish in different parts all over the lake. Well, that way everybody's got opportunity. Wherever you fish on the lake, you have a shot.
Yeah.
So they're not all in one particular pocket or 2 pockets.
Hey, I'll say this. The tag fish that I caught at San Miguel, right there at the 12:15 boat launch. And I say San Miguel was at the 12:15 boat launch. I could see the boat launch from where I caught the fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I could see.
There you go.
So you have to assume that maybe
but
when
you
they
were that guy, weren't you?
I was. Yes.
You were that guy.
Yeah, I was that idiot. Didn't give the money. Silver Star Smokehouse question of the day today. If you could have anything but turkey and dressing.
Yeah, anything.
What would you have for your Christmas dinner?
Mike, what would you have?
I got an answer for that.
What's that?
Because that's what we're doing. Wait a second. When's Christmas?
Monday.
Huh?
Monday.
Okay. This month?
Yeah.
Are you going to be in a duck blind that day?
Probably.
He just turned red. He has no idea that Christmas is Monday. He's all in his camo. He's still duck hunting.
But by the time we get to my house with Thanksgiving,
mm-hmm.
and it's turkey and ham and the world's best chicken and dumplings.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's a good idea, though.
No, but that's what. But yeah, you wouldn't if you were on that rolling pin.
Oh, right.
Oh wow!
Hey, dumplings will work.
You dang right they'll work. You don't cut them out of canned biscuits; they'll work.
My wife does them by hand.
And the pecan pies and all that. I don't even want it again for Christmas.
Really?
And we are having this year, thank goodness. And we've got Charlotte has got a hand-me-down recipe that's as good as there is for red beans and rice. That's
wow!
Oh, that's not wrong with that.
Christmas dinner, red beans.
Got you some good Bellevue meat sausage?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? Now you just mentioned that. I mean, why couldn't you go like the Silver Star and load up on ribs?
Oh dude,
for Christmas.
I'm a rib guy. I
love ribs. And
Yeah.
David Alvis got the best.
You would think that a restaurant would be closed down on Christmas Day,
Yeah.
but they're not. There's a lot of people do that.
Really?
A lot of them are open.
Just go. Probably not until after lunch. I mean, they're probably closed up until noon.
Well,
somewhere along in there.
Toy Story, they have the Chinese restaurants are open.
Get that white duck.
It's looking at you.
What would I want? The ribs would be good.
Steak and shrimp sound good to me.
Yeah. You know what though? Jordan Bates' mom. What's her name?
Terry.
Terry made crawfish dressing.
Woo!
And Jordan brought it up to the deer camp. Holy! Oh my God! We ate on it 2 weekends.
I like dressing. I don't care what's in it. Chicken,
Crawfish dressing.
duck. I'll eat any kind of dressing.
Okay, and I like my dressing, and we have good dressing at the house too. I like my dressing with the cranberry sauce on top.
Oh yes, sir.
Oh, me too.
Oh yes,
And
sir.
I hate to say it, all my life, all I've ever eaten is canned cranberry.
Yeah.
If it ain't got the rings on it,
You don't know where to cut it.
Sauce.
if it ain't got those rings.
Michael, this for Thanksgiving, my son Michael made regular cranberry sauce,
Yeah.
and it was incredible.
Really?
Yes.
My mother-in-law does it.
And you buy the package. I think the package of cranberries and the
Right.
recipes on it.
Right.
Huh.
It's I think it's 1 pound of
Yellow?
cranberries one of frozen cranberries and 22 pounds of sugar.
That makes it even better.
And it makes a 2-ounce serving.
And I ate it all. But really, I mean,
We have both.
It
on
really
our
was.
table.
It really was better than the canned cranberry.
I like them both, but we have both. Grandma makes one fresh, and then she'll have one out of the can.
What about your duck recipe? That'd be good.
Do y'all do that during?
No.
When do you start eating your ducks?
Oh,
You got to kill them first.
yeah. Well, right now, if the way it's going, I'll be able to cook duck for 3 people in February.
Mike's gonna be at the Mexican restaurant or the Chinese restaurant.
Or I'm going to get arrested down on East Kings Highway at the duck pond.
Now, what about you, Graf? You never said what you would eat.
Steak and shrimp for some. We were talking about doing steaks this year.
Yeah.
Well, they got ex-nayed.
Why?
I don't know. You know,
our
family is
You
so
had the
traditional.
idea, but you didn't have
No,
the cojones.
really,
Yeah.
Grandma had the idea, and my brother-in-law Sid does a tenderloin, and then he cuts them up in steak sizes, and they
wow.
are really good.
Wow.
He does a great job
Stuffed?
with that. No, wasn't stuffed.
You just got to go to Bergeron's.
Well, probably so. But anyway, I thought that's what we were going to have. Oh no! Now we're back to tradition: smoked turkey, ham. Well, I'm like y'all. I was kind of looking forward to. But I will say this: my mother-in-law's dressing is really good. She didn't make enough at Thanksgiving, so everybody got a little shorted on it.
Yeah.
So everybody wanted dressing. I said, well, I'll take steak and dressing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be good?
Oh, yeah.
Steak and
Hey, let me tell you what now.
That'd be awful.
No, it
heck,
would be good. A little dressing off to the side.
Dressing
baked
goes with
potato.
anything.
Yeah.
Chicken, duck.
No, not
Hey, let me
steak
tell you
and
what.
dressing.
I'll give y'all a new hint. I don't know if you ever used it. Marinating your steak.
Yeah.
Best steak marinade that I have found. That Daddy Hinkle's.
Oh, that's what I use.
Dude.
That's some good stuff, man.
It's got you got the
That's
wet
one I
and the
use.
dry in it.
Yep.
And I bought the big old family pack of it for the deer camp.
Yep.
That Daddy Hinkle's is some bad
It's my
stuff.
number
Jordan
one.
Bates turned me on to it.
That's my number one. I've been using it for years. Daddy Hinkle's.
Whatever David Alvis uses is the best.
I
in
bet
the
he's
world.
got Daddy Hinkle's
Nah.
or something like that. Or he's got Uncle Hinkle.
No,
What if he would give us that? Tell us.
Huh?
what he
No,
No.
He has $50,000 worth of it delivered to his house. He cuts the labels off of it and puts it in milk jugs and takes it to the restaurant where nobody knows what it is.
There you go.
Hey, we got Arkansas Woman of the Outdoors, Phyllis Spear, again this year. She's going to give us some of her ideas about some really good Christmas dinnery kind of stuff, maybe some desserts and things of that nature.
you go.
Also on today's show, how about this? Elite Series Pro and host of ESPN's The Bassmasters, Mark Zona. Third year in a row we've had him.
Yeah.
Our final show of 2017. Mark Zona is going to be right here on the show.
He's too busy the rest of the year to talk to
Yeah,
us.
well,
But who we got coming up next?
up next is going to be Rick Scott.
Rick Scott
of K2 Coolers.
K2 Coolers.
He wants to brag on how many people.
Yeah, he's actually on the road heading for Arkansas.
Well, Rick Scott is up next. He's going to tell us how wonderful these K2 Coolers are and how lucky old Mike is that from Kentucky that won that one.
Yeah.
We're hooking up and tracking
Mike
down
Stewart.
11:30, the Tiger.
This show would not be possible without our listeners and these fine sponsors. Daiwa Rod and Reels, J&J Exterminating, B&M Baits, Commercial Power Equipment, and Silver Star Smokehouse. Book your holiday party now as dates are filling fast. Now, back to Gary, Steve, and Mike.
Hey, if you're looking for a little bit something, you know, that the average guy just dreams about.
Yeah, the average
Bucks
Joe.
and Bulls, guides, and outfitters. If you're looking for the trip of a lifetime, you're looking for that something for somebody that's got everything. You've been wondering, you know, what do I get him? What do I get him?
Maybe on his bucket list. This could be on his bucket list.
Oh, dude. Trophy class big game hunts from Bucks and Bulls Guides and Outfitters. We're talking elk, mule deer, ram, all the way up to bear. They have got it all. Great trips from Alaska all the way to the Colorado Rockies. In fact, mule deer hunting in New Mexico, the copper mines in up in Idaho. Just an incredible plethora of stuff that you can get involved with. Also, a great staff of cooks and guides that are there to help you. In fact, one of the things that Steve Nichols at Bucks and Bulls Guides and Outfitters will always tell you is, you know, these are for the big boys. This is when you ride the mules into the camp, and you know you're out there and
Put
you're
your big boy panties on.
Exactly, you're in the middle of it all. But like with the copper mines in Idaho last year, 100% success ratio. 100% of the mule deer they took went into the Boone and Crockett record book. Hard to boast anything better than that.
That's just hard. That's almost unimaginable.
Just go to bucksandbulls.com to learn more about it. Bucks and Bulls Guides and Outfitters. And on the phone with us, Rick Scott of K2 Coolers. Now, Rick, we understand that you're on the road right now. Where exactly in the world are you?
Well, I'm up around. I'm heading up into Arkansas. I'm in going through Texarkana right now.
Oh.
And
Rick, I need you to pull over on a certain place and look at and see how much water in front of my duck line. That's where my duck line is, and we got 4 inches of rain. I need you to pull over and look and give me a report. That'll save me driving up there.
Sir.
Send photos.
And and I understand it's still raining too, so you're still getting more.
Oh, it's raining up there now?
Really?
Yeah, well, where I'm at it is. I'm north of it just a little bit. I'm heading up towards DeQueen, Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
I've already been through Texarkana, but I just threw that out there so we can be Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. Everybody knows where Texarkana's at.
Yeah.
You know what, Rick, my biggest question, K2 Coolers, obviously, the Facebook promotion that we just did broke all kinds of records for us. There's that much interest in K2 Coolers. My question for you is, what's the next phase of coolers? I mean, are they going to have computers in the top of them, and they're going to email you when you're out of cold beer? Or I mean, what's next with coolers?
Well, there's a lot of ideas out there for the next generation of coolers. Where we're at today is, you got with the K2 cooler, you got the ability to have ice retention for several days in our coolers as they are designed right now. I think one of the things that is oncoming as we have in our product line right now is soft-sided coolers that are easier to tote around, carry, take anywhere that you want to. And we've introduced this year our Sherpa backpack cooler, which is very unique to the marketplace in that it acts as anybody that wants hands-free and also carry the cooler can strap their Sherpa backpack cooler on the back and go into the woods, go to their duck blind, take their family camping, and keep their hands free to do other things as well, rather than just a shoulder strap.
Rick, do you have a fanny pack cooler for Graf?
I don't wear a fanny pack.
That's a good idea. Not at this time we don't, but that's a great idea.
Will you call it the Graf pack when you come up with it?
Well, don't listen to these guys, Rick.
We're going to name it a panty pack.
Okay.
We got to get you a Sherpa, and you'll be proud of that. And you'll see why we came out with it. And it holds 15 cans of drinks with 8 pounds of ice, and it'll serve your purposes for several days.
I think a cooler that would be a great idea would be to have a split cooler where you got cold stuff on one side and you have hot stuff on the other.
That's a great idea. And with the technology,
I should be on your committee.
Well, you just threw an idea that I haven't heard of, and with the technology that's in the cooler, that is very, very possible because they're so well insulated.
Right.
With the roto-molded technology and the insulation that's in there, it could easily separate the cold from the hot, and great idea.
Yeah. There you go.
We got dividers and we got trays and we got set place. We can separate food from your ice and different things, but what we're going to name that one when we come out with it? Is that going to be a Graf?
The hot and cold cake. Yeah, call it the Graf cooler. There you go. Forget these other guys' ideas.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Rick, since we've got our coolers from y'all, I have used mine, and I intentionally got the...
you got the shoulder.
No, not the shoulder. Well, it's a small one because to put in a boat.
Yeah,
I intentionally got that. No, not the soft side.
You got the little one. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we could have got any size. I got that one because I wanted something to carry in the boat.
Right.
And it fits on the floorboard. Doesn't take up a lot of space. And I've used it a bunch. And I'm gonna tell you that there's nothing I don't think y'all could do to improve on the inside of the K2 cooler right now. If there was some way in technology to make it just any of them a tad lighter, that would be the only plus. But as far as ice retention and the latches and the seal, y'all have got it covered.
Yeah, the lightness comes with the construction process, and truly they're built for two things, and that's durability and the ice retention. And so to get them a little bit lighter, it's just every time you get one a little bit lighter, it possibly could be taken away from the durability of it as well. You know, we have a 7-year warranty on all K2 coolers, and they're built to last much longer than that.
I can't tell you whether or not I like mine or not. Honestly, ever since I got it, and I've had it, 2 months now?
Longer than that.
My two sons, my oldest two sons, have not allowed
you ain't even seen
I have not gotten visitation with it, but they say that, man, it's the best thing since sliced white bread.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah. So I just, I would love to be able to chime in about how great it is. I don't know.
Well, you might tell them that Christmas is right around the corner, and we do have a little inventory. If it makes a great Christmas gift for a dad too.
How about that?
You just might need another one.
There you go.
Now, what is it, Rick, that makes K2? What is it that puts it head and shoulders above the crowd?
K2 was started in 2011, so there was one of the very first premium coolers to come into the marketplace. And they established a good loyal consumer base and a great customer base. And one of the things that K2, I believe, does better than anybody else is our customer service. If you have a problem, we will take care of it. We actually look forward to doing business with the smaller local dealers rather than just the big guys as well. So, we're ground roots, love to fish and hunt, and we just give the best customer service that we can as well.
And I can vouch for that. I had the new cooler that I got had one wheel that started kind of locking up on me. Mm-hmm. I called K2.
They told you they accidentally got that one from the bottom of a Walmart shopping cart.
Yeah, exactly. Within 2 days, I had my new set of wheels back to me, and I put them on myself. It was easy to put on.
How about that?
They just lock in place, snap in place. So,
was there a K1? I mean, was this y'all's second try, or
No, sir. No, K2. That was just the name that was given to it. There wasn't a second. It's not a second tier. That's what it is.
I was just wondering. Well, I don't know if there was like Kyle and Kevin, or if it was, if there was a K1 and it didn't work out so good, so they said, "Well, let's try again, do K2."
No, K2 is it's the original company name, and
it's catchy.
And like I say, it's been a great company, and like I say, our consumers are loyal to the brand, and that's what keeps us going.
Where are y'all located?
In New Iberia.
Okay.
Everybody got to be somewhere.
Yes, sir. That does bring another point. We have a manufacturing facility that we make some coolers in the United States in Lafayette. So that makes it real convenient to build coolers, get it into our warehouse, which is in New Iberia. The manufacturing facility being 10 miles down the road.
I was wondering why when I got mine it smelled like boudin. Yeah, and now I know.
Well, and you're helping the local economy down there. You're hiring some people down there, Rick. That's just great. A great testament to K2 Coolers.
Yeah, the long-term objective has been to create that environment locally and create jobs, positions, and over the long haul, all of our coolers to be built in the United States.
I think it's great because. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, Rick. You hush, Steve, and let Rick talk.
Ruben, why don't you go ahead?
I think it's great because if you watch Shark Tank, the first thing they want to do with a new product is do what? Import it.
Oh.
They want you to go overseas with it. That's why I want to compliment K2 for bringing it back and trying to make it over here instead of taking it overseas like everybody wants to do.
Well, it's given us a lot of advantages in trying new things with coolers, new designs, taking advantage of a hot and cold, just like you mentioned. We'll be able to try that very quickly rather than communicating overseas.
All right.
There's so many advantages to it. We can change our production run to meet the colors that we need at the time instead of having to wait for a boat to land at the dock. So we're finding the advantages of having it in the United States.
Hey, if you ain't got one, go get you one. It's Christmas time. K2 Coolers. Thank you, Rick Scott.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you guys for having us.
You betcha, and enjoy your trip up into Arkansas. We are going to talk to Phyllis Spear. Speaking of Arkansas, Arkansas woman of the outdoors. She's next, hooking up and tracking down
Grandpa's been chasing grandma.
The Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. Thanks for tuning into us today. This segment is presented by K2 Coolers, Nichols Department Stores, Groove Tackle, and Bellevue Meat Processing, offering a variety of Louisiana-made products and their newest line of sausage, Pineapple Sweet Hot. Here is Steve, Gary, and Mike.
It's not going to shock anybody, but I'm not through Christmas shopping.
No,
Oh, come on.
he didn't know Christmas was
I'm
Monday.
surprised he started.
I'm not through. And the three worst things about Christmas shopping are Uri Drive, Burt Coons,
And
Airline Drive.
Yeah, buddy. Without a doubt.
But you can hit 31, I mean, what you call it,
220.
220
Yeah.
and get off at Swan Lake
Yep.
Road.
Yes, you can.
Zero traffic.
Yep.
And be right there at Davis Clothing and Outdoors.
I was in there Friday. The boys invited me to go duck hunting with them Saturday. They don't normally let me go play with them, but they invited me to go duck hunting Saturday. So I ran over to Davis. I didn't have any steel shot. I hadn't duck hunted in 20 years. I pulled into Davis, literally walked in, got me 2 boxes of steel shot, was out in
5 minutes.
It was nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was perfect.
That's shopping to me, and it's a great place for stocking stuffer ideas like shell belts. They've got a full line of duck calls, especially the Haydale duck calls, hand warmers. You know, we're fixing to get down in the 20s.
Yeah.
Really?
The next 5 days.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Hand and toe boot warmers, knives, a big selection of knives, gun cleaning kits. The gun cleaning kit makes a grehave Christmas present.
And that's a
I
perfect
agree.
gift for a young person to get, that's
Teach-
getting their first gun.
Teach them if they're going to have a
Maintain
gun,
it.
a shotgun or a rifle. You've got to take care of it. So go to the store location, 4481 Viking Drive in Bossier City, or go to DavisClothingAndOutdoors.com. That's Davis Clothing and Outdoors, taking the outdoors to another level.
You know what my dad gave me, and I still have it today? He gave this to me when I was 18 years old.
Piece of string with a T-shirt on the end of it.
He gave me a 3-liter old Dr. Pepper glass 3-liter bottle.
Yeah.
Don't even make them anymore, I don't think. That's just a relic in itself. It's all glass. It's filled with mineral oil. And I used the mineral oil on the stock of my
That ain't
gun.
what he gave it to you for.
Well, maybe that's not. But
He was trying to keep you regular.
I use that to keep put on the wood stock of my gun, and it keeps it looking brand new, and it's great for your gun. So
Yeah.
I still it's not
It
even,
works on all ends.
Yeah, well, it might. I ain't thought about some other stuff. I might try it now.
Take you a good dose of that
It may
mineral
not
oil.
last much longer.
Get you a good slug of it.
My daddy gave me a pair of blue jeans with a hole cut in the pocket, so I'd have something to play with.
Merry Christmas.
All right, we got to change subjects. The Arkansas Woman of the Outdoors. Every year we are blessed with Miss Phyllis Spear. Miss Spear, are you Miss Phyllis? Are you in Arkansas this year, or are you up in the Northwest where you have
Oregon.
been? Yeah, are you up there?
I'm in Arkansas.
Okay.
She's back home.
Wow.
Hallelujah.
Now, does that mean that your kids are coming there to you this year, or have you guys already done Christmas with them, or what?
No, they're staying in Oregon, and the other grandparents from California are coming up. And
California.
So,
What happened
yeah,
there?
can you imagine? But we don't hold it against them.
Well, you ought to, Phyllis.
Well, you just can't. You just wait. You just can't help what your kids do. You know.
Oh,
Do they know how to interact?
No, I tell you, we have a fabulous daughter-in-law. How she puts up with Greg, I don't know.
God love you. Hey, listen, I wanted to ask you something. I was tickled to death to find out that you were going to get to join us again this year because we get to talk food and real good food. I read the other day that back in the early days of the United States that oysters were so cheap and plentiful that a number of meals included oysters, and that's where we got the oyster dressing. Have you ever made an oyster dressing?
No, they never last that long when we get them. But you know, being a landlocked state, we don't, they've got to be really fresh before I want them.
I got you.
I'm with you.
But I've never put oysters. But you know what? We never in my life stuffed our turkey. Did you ever stuff a
No.
turkey?
My mom.
The dressing was always on the side.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And you took
And
the
it was
giblets
called
out and made
dressing. It
giblet
wasn't-
gravy.
And it was called dressing. It wasn't called stuffing.
Right.
We didn't stuff it.
Well, stuffing is different
so, no,
than dressing,
I've
too.
never done that.
Huh.
I beg your pardon?
Wouldn't you agree that stuffing is different than dressing?
Oh, yeah.
Depends on whether you're the
stuffing
turkey or not.
Well, and stuffing's made with light bread.
Exactly.
You know, and we're cornbread dressing.
Amen.
You preach it. Now tell me
Oh, my gosh.
when
I
you
tell you, I'd sooner watch an ant eat a bale of hay as to eat that white bread.
when you start your dressing, how long does it take you from start to finish? I mean, how many pans of cornbread do you make? I mean, we're talking about, Miss Phyllis Spear.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I use two, regular sized pans of cornbread. They'd be like a 10-inch skillet, two of those. And then I do put a little bit of light bread, but that's just because my mama did. You wouldn't know it was in there.
You put the heels
But
in there.
I probably usually make the cornbread like the day before. But then when I make my dressing, I cook a whole chicken. I boil the chicken, and I take all that chicken off the bone, and then that's my broth. And I boil that chicken with onion and celery and apple, and then I take that. I take all the chicken off the bone, and that's the broth I use in my dressing. And I chop up that chicken and put it in my dressing. And then I put celery and onion. And I tell you what, the best part of dressing is eating it raw before you cook it.
Woo, I love it raw.
I've never tried
Oh,
that.
know it.
yes.
And I put apples and 2 or 3 boiled eggs in mine. And that's just because that's the way my mama, and my aunts did it. And then I pour that broth over it. And I get mine almost soupy because if you don't put enough broth, when it's done, it's too dry.
Right. Phyllis, will you send me, you just described exactly how, I watched my mom make dressing one time, and she did exactly what you just said. She always had chicken in her dressing, and she made it the same exact way. I need that recipe. And when my mom passed, I did not get some of her recipes, and I regret that.
You're going to make me write another recipe.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Oh, gosh. That was always the hardest thing about doing the TV show was because I'm a dump cook. and I have to write a recipe for it. So I would pour something in my hand, and then I'd get a measuring spoon, and I'd measure it and say, okay, that's how much is in it.
Yeah, there you go.
But I will try my best to send you. I'll write down what I do. Now you
There you
just
go.
have to do it by taste to get the
That's fine.
salt and.
That'll work.
But I'll sure do it.
All right.
I wouldn't do it for anybody else but you. Now you know that.
I know that.
Well, you know, you talk about making that dressing soupy. You put it in that Magnolite dish, and you put it in the oven, and you cook it, and until you pull that Magnolite dish out, and you shake it, and it doesn't wiggle in the middle. When it
Yep,
quits
and it's got
wiggling
to
in
be
the
that
middle, the
golden
dressing
brown
is
on the
done.
top.
That's right.
Oh my gosh!
Boy.
Now that's some good eating right there. I don't care who you are.
No, I'm telling you.
Okay, now what about you? Would Miss Phyllis? Would you have chicken and dumplings for Christmas, or
No,
squirrel
I have
and dumplings?
Chicken and dressing. I have chicken and dressing.
You have chicken and dressing. You wouldn't make dumplings.
Well, probably not for Christmas. I mean, I'd make dumplings.
Well, we were looking
know
for
what?
other ideas, stuff that
Yeah, we're looking at something.
off the beaten path.
Oh, well, I'm going to do. Well, actually, I think we're going to have fried bologna sandwiches.
That's off the beaten path.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, is there?
With macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, with macaroni and a big old onion on it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm actually going to make, a duck casserole. That's kind of going to be our off the beaten path. But,
Now, do you
chicken
debone the
and
duck when you do
dumplings.
that? When you make that casserole?
I beg your pardon?
Do you debone that duck?
Well, I make it one of two ways. It depends on if I have a package of duck breast or if I have a whole duck.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a whole duck, then I cook that duck with apple and celery and onion, and then I take it off the bone, and then use that broth in the duck casserole with rice and half and stick of butter and mushrooms.
If you can cook a duck that's not dry, you are God's favorite child.
Yeah.
Oh, well, your reason it's dry is because you overcook it.
Yeah. That's what dries
You
it
can
out.
only cook duck to medium. People, because it's a fowl, they don't hardly want to do that. But if you'll cook a duck just to medium, I mean,
Well, last year, Miss Phyllis, I gave you a recipe for cooking duck.
Yes.
No, and don't. You can't BS a BSer. I know that you have not done this, because if you had, you would be on the front page of some magazine, and I would be getting royalty checks from you.
Well, I would be on the page of a magazine, but it's so damn good. I've eaten so much of it, the magazine cover's not big enough to put me on there. Yeah. So, see?
Well, I stand corrected.
Oh, my gosh, is that good? Is that good?
Well,
But now let me tell you a little dumpling secret, and you're going to think I'm crazy. And sometimes I do this if I'm in a hurry, if I don't want to, make out dumplings. Now my dumplings are the flat, square, tough dumplings. They're not the puffed up kind.
yeah, my wife makes them like that too.
Yeah, see, I didn't grow up with puffy dumplings. I just grew up with those flat. It's almost like you make pie crust and don't put a lot of fat in.
Exactly.
But if you will take flour tortillas and cut them in squares, and you cook your chicken or your squirrels or whatever you're going to have for dumplings, and you get that done and make it just like you would chicken and any other kind of whatever you're going to do in dumplings, and you drop those flour tortillas in there, they will cook up into some of the best dumplings you've ever eaten.
Huh. Flour tortillas.
And I'm not kidding.
They're actually better than the canned biscuits that you can make a dumpling out of if you're in a rush.
Oh, well, to me they are.
Yes, they are. No, I'm telling you, I've done them, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it the first time somebody told me that, but I came home and tried it, and I'm telling you now, it is good.
One of the things my mother did one year was Cornish hens.
Love them.
Yes,
Yeah.
Love
I
'em.
did too. She did that for Christmas on several occasions.
Little
matter of
wannabe
fact.
chicken.
Exactly.
Want to be chicken?
Yeah. They are truly delicious, and it's neat. It's neat because you can just make one for each person. And they have their own little. They have their own little
bird
on their plate.
Okay, well, before we get off of this thing, Miss Phyllis,
Yes.
what is Miss Phyllis Spears' #1 most requested dessert?
Well, it could be chocolate cobbler. That's requested a lot.
Chocolate
Then I
cobbler.
make
What?
hazelnut.
Holy
cheese
crap!
cake.
That sounds awesome. Chocolate cobbler.
I'm not sure how it sounds.
And then I make tiramisu, and my family really likes that. Now my little guys up in Oregon, one of them wants banana pudding. That's when I get.
I
there,
knew there
make
was some
it-
Arkansas in that baby. I knew he couldn't help that. You know,
Oh, me too. And the other one wants key lime pie, but one of them wants a banana pudding, and of course he wants it. And it was so funny because first time I made him like a lemon meringue pie or a chocolate. I think it was chocolate meringue pie. And of course I, put meringue on the top of it, and I told him that was calf slobber.
you did what?
Calf slobber.
Calf slobber.
People call meringue calf slobber.
Calf slobber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
And so they weren't sure they wanted to eat it, but when they got through, they said, "Boy, this calf slobber's really good." So now they say, "Will you make me a pie with calf slobber?"
Well, Merry
They're
Christmas,
from
Miss
Oregon,
Phyllis.
see, they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
We hope you have an incredible Christmas, and
I hope you guys do too. And it's always so much fun to visit with you. And one of these days we're going to get together. I'm going to have to come through there. You're going to have to come up here or something. But
we're going to come
I
up
hope
there.
everyone just.
We're going to make Mike take us duck hunting up there
How
one day.
far from Texarkana are you?
Oh my gosh! All the way across the state. I'm only 10 miles from the Missouri border.
Oh,
if you look
Lord.
at Little Rock and go due north, almost to Missouri, that's where I am.
You're almost a Yankee.
Are you close to flipping?
Yeah, how far are you from
I'm
flipping?
not almost a Yankee. I'm standing here, right here at my back door, that goes out on the deck, overlooking where the Buffalo National River comes into the White River.
Well, she's really
There's
close to
mountains all
flipping.
around.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't get much better than that.
How far are you from flipping?
I'm about 15 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, heck.
Yeah. What are you at Yellville or what?
No, I'm in a little community called Buffalo City.
Buffalo
Buffalo
City.
City.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not. I think there's 11 people live down there. I live in the suburbs. I live up on the mountain in the suburbs.
Oh, yeah. She left the other 9 people down there. The regular people.
Oh, yeah, I don't get involved in the politics.
She doesn't have to vote for mayor or nothing.
No.
Thank
I'm
you,
the
Miss Phyllis, and
self-designated constable.
we do wish you a Merry Christmas, ma'am.
All
And
the same for you guys, and a wonderful, wonderful New Year. And remember to shoot straight and keep your powder dry.
There you go.
Miss Phyllis Spear, Arkansas woman in the outdoors. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, the Tiger.
Do you know about our social network? Check us out on Facebook and Hooking Up and Tracking Down show for outdoor news and some great educational videos. This segment is presented by United Rentals Cypress Knee Outdoors along with Bucks and Bulls Outfitter. Book your next big game hunting adventure by going to bucksandbulls.com.
The State Fair Boat and RV Show is right around the corner. As soon as Christmas is over, you'll start getting ready to make the January 19th to the 21st, Louisiana State Fairgrounds. You want to make sure you make a visit there, because if you're in the market for a new boat, RV, they got all kind of stuff they'll have there. Besides that, there'll be all kind of booths, displays, tackle, different types of, probably jacuzzi people. I always wonder why jacuzzi people always show up at a boat show, but they're always there.
Hey, don't knock it.
Okay.
Have you seen those models?
Yeah, that's true. Admission is $6 for adults. Kids and 12 under are free. Top RV and boat dealers from the entire Arklatex area will be there. No better time to buy, and this is really true. There's no better time to buy a boat or RV during a boat show, because they have to pay for the floor space. They lease that space out. They want to sell as many boats as they possibly can to cover their costs.
Question. Somebody put this on our Facebook page last week. What lakes will be included this year in the State Fair Boat Show tournament?
The same as last year.
And if you didn't fish last year, you're just out of luck?
No.
You just don't remember?
No, I don't remember. But
I know Grand Bayou won it last year.
Okay, Grand Bayou is on it.
Bistineau was second place.
We had
Bistineau's on it.
one or two in East Texas.
Cross Lake. I think we had Lake of the Pines.
Cross, Caddo.
And Brandy Branch.
Toledo Bend.
Toledo Bend. Red River.
Red River.
There's 8 or 10.
Yeah.
You say Grand Bayou?
Yeah, Grand Bayou won it last year.
Yeah, that's right. You're right.
You know, because you predicted it was due to win.
Yes, I predicted that it would win the last 5 or 6 years, and Jerry Hester's let me down.
Do you think it will stand a chance again?
Let me think. The weather conditions. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I think Grand Bayou.
Have you seen Caddo lately?
No.
Okay.
Did they move it?
No. They might as well have. There's guys driving their tractors out across it. You know?
Yeah, I know. It's bad shape.
But that's. I was just wondering just how bad it was.
Well, I'm hoping that this weather that we have coming up, where we're going to be down in the 20s for several mornings, may help that situation. But I'm not really. I don't really care about the boat show tournament or the boss or anything right now, because Billy and Linda Phipps just sent us 2 pizzas.
Yes, they did.
And for lunch.
Billy Phipps, you're my hero.
Thank you.
You already ate 2 pieces.
And your point?
How did he do that? He just got up and walked.
I don't know. The big girl in the hall a few minutes ago, she was acting.
Did you just say that live on the radio?
She admits it. She said, "Never offer a big girl pizza."
Boy, it's one thing for her to say it.
Well,
You don't say it.
And this is what it is.
Nothing in life.
I don't understand. You know,
That's like saying, "When's your baby due?"
Yeah.
Well, I'm not pregnant.
Can you imagine all the crap that Sherry's had to put up with for the last 36 years?
Man,
Really, the last 5 since I got associated with you two guys.
There's a lot of stuff that in your mind
You might
it's
think.
going around. You say, "That's a great idea. That's a great idea." And just as it leaves the tip of your tongue, I can't believe I said that.
This is pot calling the kettle black over here.
Okay. All right. So we will have on January the 19th, we'll have the mandatory rules meeting. At least one guy's going to have to be there at
One
the
member
state
of the
fair.
team out there, and you'll get in if you're fishing a boat show. You get in free.
Entry fee is how much for this year?
Same as last year.
Question, Mike.
200, 225,
No, I think it's
875.
200. Yeah.
Would it suffice if I had Gary video me not be? So I live in Natchez. Could he video the rules meeting and I still counted for being there?
Yeah, that's a real good idea. No.
We could go Facebook Live with it. We
Yeah,
don't have to be there. We just
Yeah,
have to
we
be
have
tuned
to
in
be
to
there.
Facebook Live.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
No, it's
That's what they ought to do all rules
I'm
meetings.
telling
Just
you,
go
man.
Facebook Live.
I hate rules meetings.
Not if you're a techno idiot like me.
Now, I will say this. Last year,
Charlotte can handle it.
Last year, I got to hang out with Mike's brother Claude and his sister-in-law, Claude's wife, and it was a blast. We sat there, me and Pete sat there and talked to him and everything, and we had a good time.
You were the guys not paying attention. At the meeting.
I was the guy that Eccles kept going, if we could get some people to shut up, we might be able to get out of here. Long story. Okay. Now that he's got his mouth full of pepperoni pizza, thank you, Billy Phipps. We love
Oh,
you.
my gosh.
And by the way, go to statefairoflouisiana.com to learn more about the State Fair of
If you
Louisiana.
want to find out all that stuff, I don't
All
know
right,
the
so
answer.
we got about 3 minutes, and we've got a list of
My
people
goodness.
that were the most influential.
Okay. Thank you, David Glass, for sending this to me. It's Outdoor Life article, The Influencers, 19 people who have changed the outdoors for the better or for the worse. And we're going to start that, and we're going to read these. and these are not in order of how important they are. But number one on the list was Jim Shockey. Jim Shockey and the red bandana. Shockey is a modern hunting's most influential celebrity.
Have we ever talked to him on the show?
No, not
No,
yet.
haven't.
Jim Shockey influence on the world of hunting has been twofold. First, and most important, he made the adventure hunting in far-off places for exotic species palatable and at times even inspirational to the average sportsman and woman. Second, he has been a prodigious promoter of brands and products. Let's see what else.
Do you think he would be kind of
he'd be
uppity to talk
no,
to?
I used to think he was, but Don Edwards has visited with him, and he said he's one of the nicest guys he's ever talked to.
Really?
Yes,
I'm
I
amazed.
missed the boat on that. I really did.
Yeah.
And his daughter Eva, hotter than fish grease.
You know, we thought the same thing about Mike Iaconelli, and we were all proven wrong about Iaconelli.
Now, I've tried 3 times to get a hold of Eva with 0 success up to this point. 0. So
She saw your picture.
maybe so.
Okay,
Before we
number two.
became famous, though.
And we're going to do this for the upcoming weeks because we got 19 of them. We've got time for one more. Fred Zink, the inspired faker. Fred Zink is also the founder of Zink Outdoors. And at 9 years old, Fred hunted blackbirds over a decoy spread of 300 silhouettes that he made out of styrofoam and cardboard. And he hunted from a homemade blind with a pellet gun. And throughout the next 4 decades, while winning numerous World Championship duck and goose calling competitions, Zink built a resume of innovation and developments that, if they didn't necessarily revolutionize waterfowl hunting, they certainly improved it. Fred Zink worked with Final Approach founders Ron Latshaw.
Who is he?
Who?
Fred Zink.
Zink Duck Calls.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of
duck
it. Okay,
calls.
I've never heard.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
absolutely. He's the guy that hunted blackbirds.
Yeah, I heard that part.
Yeah. They designed the Eliminator layout style blinds. His wife, Dawn, with his wife, Dawn, he founded Zink Outdoors, a mail order company that sells calls, decoys, and accessories. Next came Zink Calls, and Zink Duck Calls is a very good product. The key, Zink says, is just common air pressure on their calls. We design calls so it doesn't take a lot of air to produce a lot of volume. Anyway, that's number 2. I don't think we got time to do another one. Do we?
One more, quickly.
No, I don't. Let me see. I can't stop eating. I can't do this next one. Too long.
Okay, well, then we will get more
Okay.
next week. How
Okay.
about that?
Yes.
Mark Zona, ESPN host Mark Zona, going to be on the show. Of course, you know, in his own right, we got to make up a lie. We have to make up a rumor. We have to say that Greg Hackney said something about him.
Oh, yeah.
Mark
That's
Zona,
his best friend.
Mark Zona is on the show with us next. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger. I saw we just had a 26-second spot. It was like, okay.
Where's your paper? Mark Zona's sending me a new number.
Okay.
Hey, give me it. Yeah, I was about to. Let me see. Bill, there we go. Nope. Dang.
Just put another one up there at the end of the spot block.
Gotcha. There we go.
There you go. Give me one more.
Yep. Here we go. This one. Is that going to play?
Why is that one a different color?
There we go. All right, because it won't play.
You'll have to manually start that, I bet.
Yeah, let me see. That's what I'm waiting on. Yep. There we go. There it is. All right. Sure thing. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 6. We would like to invite you to pull up a chair and kick back for an hour or two of the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. This segment presented by Ranger Boats, Despino, and Jim's Big South Tire, the Red River Waterway Commission, Stingray Line Cutter, and Commercial Power Sports, home of Hammerhead ATVs. Here's Steve, Gary, and Mike.
Hey, we are hooking up and tracking down. It's Gary McCoy, along with the old Ranger Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, the Mud Hen Mike Eccles, and Pepperoni Pizza. Thank you, Billy and Linda Phipps. You know what? Billy and Linda are just they're salt of the earth kind of people.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, anywhere you go, if Billy knows you, he's going to give you a hug. Linda's going to give you a hug. They're going to let you know that once you are their friend, you are their friend for life. You really got to You got to do something as stupid as Graff for them to not like you.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And see, they sent this pizza to us to keep us from going to their house for supper. It was actually a twofold purpose.
Hey, on the phone with us, Elite Series Pro, host of ESPN's Bassmasters. He is Mark Zona. And, Mark, before we go any further, we got to clear up the rumor. We had Greg Hackney on 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks?
Last week.
It was last week.
Last week.
I have a short memory. Hackney says that in the summer months, that in order that that you because you're spending so much time out, that you shave your legs. Is there any truth to that?
Well, let me just put it to be dead honest with you, gang.
Yeah.
And I have been on this show several times, and I have held back a lot about Greg Hackney.
Oh yeah.
Now, whatever Greg Hackney says that I do.
Mm-hmm.
Times it by 2.
So you shave both legs.
I will not confirm nor deny any behavior that I have partook in with that Louisiana rattlesnake.
Oh, dude. when you're out with your buddy, I mean, because when it's the two of you in a boat, it's not you and the Greg Hackney, it's just you and your buddy Greg. Are y'all constantly playing off of each other? I mean, just is it like us? I mean, are you just two regular guys at that point?
Well, gosh, let me just put. Here's what I can say, and I will always live up to this. Of the years and over a decade of taping Zona shows, I'll always put it this way. We can only air 20 to 25% of it actually what happens. The majority of that content, Greg Hackney was right in the middle of unseen footage.
We've changed the names to protect the innocent.
Well, here's what I can tell you. I do believe this, and I don't want this to.
It's family show now.
There is a positive and a negative of that content that's never been seen. The positive, if we posted it, I believe we could get 1 to 3 million eyeballs in 24 hours. With that being said, he and I would both lose every sponsor we have to this point in our career.
Well, Mark, it wasn't really the fact that he said you shaved your legs that caught us by surprise. It was how far up he said you shaved.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not going to touch that one. But like I said, if it's anything I've done, you throw him right in the middle of the exact same fire.
Now, is alcohol ever involved?
I will not confirm or deny anything for the rest of this interview pertaining to Greg Hackney.
What are you seeing for 2018 as far as, since the tour's been released, everything? What are you seeing, any kind of predictions, big tournaments this year, big weights, anything along those lines?
or rising stars.
I'll be honest with you. With the tournament that we all look at, the tournament that we look at naturally, going into the new season, you're looking at the Classic, and your heavy favorites there really were the heavy favorites from the last time we were there, except for Van Dam, because that was the one Classic he did not qualify. Instantly, he goes right back into the same ranks as Tom Brady. If he's in the playoffs, he's a favorite. I think this time around, going into the Classic at Lake Hartwell, Gosh, and I see you guys every time, whether it's ICAST or it's the Classic. I see you guys there doing your deal and us doing ours. I really think it's going to be a different monster this time around. I think when that weather was really cold the last time at Hartwell, it fell right into Casey Ashley's wheelhouse.
Right.
Yeah.
It did. Here's what it did was it took a relatively quote-unquote big lake and made it incredibly small. I don't think it's going to be that this time around. Look, he's still going to be the perennial favorite, but that lake's going to be a lot bigger if we get warming temps. And I look for some real dark horses to shine in that tournament. One of them, I really think, look, I'll just put it bluntly. Greg has sucked in the Classic, and he'll be the first one to admit it. The Classic has really been the nemesis of Hackney's career. Gosh, you can't see that happening. One of these is going to fall in his wheelhouse, and this one could, if they decide to start looking at the bank and not looking off the bank, he could be a favorite.
You know what, though? You bring up a really good point, though. And down here, I can tell you that there are times, especially on Rayburn Toledo Bend, that guys would much rather fish a tournament when water temperatures are mid-40s and the fish are really schooled up offshore deep than they would if it was mid-50s and the fish are scattered all over the lake.
Oh, it's good, 100%. Because here's the thing, those guys that have that knowledge of those offshore, what I'll call wintertime fish, which is basically when y'all are in the 40s or the Carolinas are in the 40s. It really, really takes local wintertime knowledge to where, hey, look, the majority of that field, they want a warming trend where those fish are coming up and getting some sun because it gets in the mass population of that field's wheelhouse instead of just 5 guys' wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I really think if you look at the history of when tournaments are on that lake in the month of March instead of when we were there the last time, the predominantly shallow water tournaments. Now, with that being said, don't think that kid from the Carolinas, Casey, doesn't know where to catch him shallow too. So, but I think the field gets a lot more opened up instead of when it's 20 degrees, the water temp's 39. Right. I think the field closes at that time.
Well, another person that I think is way overdue, and I know you're going to agree with me, is Aaron Martins. And this could be a big tournament for Aaron. This could be his deal.
No doubt, and really, what plays into the factor of Aaron in this tournament is the combination of largemouth and spots. That lake's got a tremendous amount of good, solid, 2 3/4 to 3 1/4 pound spotted bass. And the other thing is that lake is no longer. You can't put it as an unknown to those guys that have classic experience there. And look, I'll go back to Van Dam when Alton Jones won the Classic there several years ago, much longer before we were there, where Casey won. Rarely does Van Dam look at me in confidential, totally, off the record and say, man, I'm going to win this tournament. And he was very point blank. He looked at me and he said, I'm not catching good ones. I'm catching giant. It totally ignored fish. And he backed it up the first day of that tournament. Now, that deal fizzled out by the end of it, but he knows what to do on that lake to catch those better than 20-pound bags if the weather sets up for him. And it could, because that what's weird about that lake, there is every time we've been there in a tour event years past, there's a distinct offshore crank and bite that somehow has transpired here and there. If that plays, Van Dam becomes a really big factor in that tournament.
Now, are we going to see anything like we saw this past year's on? I mean, let's just be honest. Jordan Lee came absolutely out of nowhere. But that, to me, is what makes the Classic so interesting to watch and so much fun to watch. You just never know which guy is going to have that 2 big days when it wasn't expected. They get on something that nobody else is on. And are we going to see another situation like Jordan Lee?
You can, and we could. But the thing is, going to where we're going this year compared to going to Conroe is, and look, those lakes down by your guys' house, the Toledo Bends and the Rayburns, they can kick out that 30-pound bag on a final day to come out of nowhere.
Right.
The only other place you really see things like that happen besides your region, and those surrounding states, is Florida. Mm-hmm. Florida has those potential, the potential of that 27 to 35-pound bag. And that's a rarity. That's a very big rarity going to a Hartwell. So here's what I can tell you can somebody come out of nowhere on that final day? Absolutely. Just because predominantly it's still a pre-spawn deal and the heaviest ones of the year can be weighed. But you had better be in the top 10 at Hartwell going into that final day, or it'd be a major long shot to come back from below top 10.
The Mark Zona on the phone with us today, and you know what? I don't remember, Mark, if it was you that we asked this. It might have been Jerry McInnes back here a couple of years ago. Do you think the Classic will ever be held on the West Coast? Will there ever be a California Classic?
Gosh, I hope so. I really do. Just for the simple fact that every time that we've gone there or other tours have gone there, certain venues we get, enormous crowds, giant stringers. A shooting par on a lot of those lakes is 20 to 25 pounds. The only thing, and this is definitely, I don't know what my field of expertise is, but I can tell you what my field of expertise is not, is the folks at Bass have to have an infrastructure besides the body of water and where the weigh-in is. You guys have been to Classics. That's a major, that truly is our Super Bowl, and you have to have housing, you have to have, an expo venue, you have to have it, and not only that, you really have to have it all close together, and I don't know that those stars have aligned yet with a venue out west, because I can tell you, if it does, they will go.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be great for bass fishing in general for it to go west.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
and really, a lot of the really oddball and goofy techniques that we do now, a lot of those strange techniques come from out west. Granted, guys, I'm not gonna lie, those people out there. One of the reasons I think those oddball techniques come out, see, I hate to jump over that line, there's genuinely just strange people out west.
Say it isn't true.
Oh, come on.
Look, we got a couple of them on the Elite Series.
Yeah, you do. You're right.
Not exactly what you look at it. Hey, look, I'm the first one to say this. Brent Ayler, next to Hackney, Ayler is one of my closest friends on planet Earth. If you look at Brent Ayler, he does not come out of a bass fishing mold.
Yeah, he slobbers a lot, doesn't he? Does he have a helmet?
Here's what I could tell you is you could more see Brent Ayler being a brain surgeon than throwing a jig in a bush.
Pete Daniels just loves Brent Ayler.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gotten to be buddies over the years and just loves. Hey, would you stay with us a few more minutes, Mark?
Guys, you know I would.
All right. Mark Zona on the show with us today. We are hooking up and tracking down 1130, the Tiger. We are hooking up and tracking down 1130 the Tiger, Gary McCoy, along with the Ranger of Iowa Pro staffer Steve Griff. He's the old mud hen Mike Eckel, straight out of the duck line today. Ruben's in here. Little Jay, did you see that? Jay caught a fish.
Yeah, he's been converted.
Jay caught a bass.
Jay opened a can of sardines.
No, he's got his little girl in the background. He actually went to Lake Claiborne on vacation, and he caught a bass. Now, somebody said that he paid his little girl to let him hold her fish. But long and short, hey, this part of the show is brought to you by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Bayou Outdoors Supercenter, Groove Fishing, Seagar Fishing Line, and Wonder Duck Decoys. On the phone with us today, he is Mark Zona. And Mike's got a really important question. If you were thinking about what we were talking about just before we played commercials a minute ago, something along those same lines.
Well, Mark, I know you were somewhat kidding, but you were telling the truth when you said when it comes to the Classic that Greg Hackney sucks. But that's kind of the truth. And I'm wondering, you see that a lot. You'll see great anglers, anglers of the year, anglers that win 2 or 3 qualifying tournaments. And Aaron Martin's another one. What is it about the Classic that just throws this wall up to some anglers?
Hey, and in all honesty, I say that, joking around but I say it with a tone of being serious for the simple point, I'm repeating the words out of his mouth.
Right.
Yeah, I would never say, look, to me, you make it to the Classic, you've done great. But you're talking about a guy that's won everything. And to his standards, and Hackney's the first person that'll say this, along with an Aaron Martins. Hackney's very outspoken that he does not feel he has completed his career until he wins that event. Mm-hmm. And anything that is not first place sucks to him. So with that being said, and I've dove right in, when we're alone, I've dove in serious with him. I said, what is it that's haunted you on that deal? And he said, and you guys, heck, you all, he's in your backyard, and you guys have interviewed him countless times.
You can tell us what he said. We won't tell anybody.
Yeah. As long as it wasn't about Apple's mom.
Well, number one, I can never use his exact words off there. but he's told me that, number one, that whole week is a mass circus. It is a circus from the moment you wake up, for the anglers, for the people that are covering it, and not only that is, we're a pretty tight-knit family from the tournament staff to the media and the anglers throughout the entire year. So boom, here comes the Classic. And then there's all these outside distractions that are not usually at a regular event. Whether it's media, whether it's your own sponsors, whether it's obligations. Edwin Evers wrote a very interesting blog the year that he won the Classic that was on Bassmaster, and he said, I hope I don't offend anybody with this blog, but I'm not talking to anybody before the tournament, my family included. Where when you read that, that's very abrasive.
Right.
But when you read into it, it's extremely smart.
Yeah.
And to go back to in a Cliff Notes version, to really shorten it, I think the week of the Classic is so out of the ordinary for those guys, and there's so much importance put on winning it compared to, look, throughout the general year, those guys are scratching, clawing for every point they can get to get there. Then all of a sudden, boom, you get there, and the only thing that matters is winning. It's just very out of the realm of how they fish and function.
Well, years ago, that kind of ties in with this. Years ago, a great singer, Larry Gatlin, I heard him quote one time, said, if you've got enough energy to hang around after the show and sign autographs for an hour, you didn't give 100% on stage. And that's kind of about what Evers is talking about. If I'm giving 100% at the Classic, I don't have time for the hoopla.
And that's what the Classic is, buddy. But here's the other side of it. That hoopla, and what I always say, that hoopla, that circus, all that BS,
it's paid in the bills.
Yeah.
that's what makes it the dang Classic. I had one angler. I'm not going to say who it was, who won a Classic, say to me, he said, look, they don't do all these interviews at the Masters when they get done with 18 holes. I said, you're right. They do about 50 more interviews.
Hey, Mark, I want to take you in a different direction because this is new for 2018. I actually called Brandon Polinick on my way up this morning and had a brief conversation with Brandon just to confirm that this rule was actually going to be in effect. Starting in 2018, once the schedule was released for this next year, including the Classic, no angler can get information from anybody unless it's public information like the internet or so forth. How is that going to affect a lot of these guys fishing on that level? Because we all know, it's no secret, some of these guys get more help than others, and it's going to separate the men from the boys, I think.
I really think I think the spirit of the rule is with very, very, very good intent.
Mm-hmm.
But look, there are anglers that before that cutoff goes into effect, they ride around for days on end with a lot of the locals, days on end, daylight to dark. Yeah. I know who they are.
Yeah,
and I think that entire rule was meant to deter that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And here's the thing. Like I said, I'm in complete support of that rule. I think you will notice certain people that have been frighteningly consistent, not that consistent anymore.
Yep. I think, and tell me if I'm wrong here, I think it affects the check chasers versus a guy trying to win the event. Those check chasers are the guys that are, it's going to affect them because you got to be able to go find fish on your own now.
I'm going to be honest with you. You will see drastic rises that you've not seen the last few years, and you will see extremely hard falls with some people that you did not expect it from. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Well, you know
I
what?
think you're right.
Now, one of the things that occurred to me was that, and I don't know how much goes into post production. I don't know, how much creative license there is, but when you watch Major League Fishing, whether it's one of the sudden deaths or it's one of the championships or one of the precursors to those. These guys are the best of the best of the best, and they are still able to find fish on bodies of water that either A, they have never been on before, or B, it's been years since they've been on. They have no inclination where they're going to be until they're there, and yet very seldom does anybody ever goose egg. It might be that that first day would have been equivalent to the first day of practice. You don't have the 20-pound stringers on average. They're vying for the same 1.5-pound, 2-pound fish in most cases that even the locals would be vying for. But they have still got this incredible ability to hone in and make enough changes to be able to figure out what it is that the fish are doing.
But I'll go one step more in that. I agree with you, but I think one thing that Major League Fishing has also shown is who's not good at finding them on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's what I can tell you. It's shown who's very dominant in launching their boat and knowing what the heck is going on, and it will exploit certain anglers every time I've watched it that don't know what's going on.
Yep, exactly.
That have done very well in tournaments, if you don't mind me saying.
I'm with you, Zona. I'm totally on board with what you're saying.
Well,
it's very easy to read when you watch that.
Yep.
I would venture that anybody can catch fish if they're put on fish. It is the finding fish and staying with a group of fish, or as Eccles has told us before, a lot of times, those fish didn't really move. It was your presentation that had to change. And the one thing that has impressed me more than anything else, watching a guy whether it be Van Dam or it's Greg or whoever, watching a guy approach a body of water, dissect it down as quickly as they do. They've got 20 rods scattered over the front of the boat, and there's not one guy around that I know that will have 20 rods on the front of the boat anytime in a local tournament around here.
I do, but I don't know what I'm doing.
But they don't marry themselves to anything. They have no preconceived notions. They'll pull up. They think, well, they might be in the grass. They might be on the rocks. They might be in the brush. And they want to catch them one way, but these guys are good enough to be able to change. Now, granted, yes, you see situations where they don't find them. And when that happens, I would venture it's kind of embarrassing.
I will always say that, and this is probably the most asked question I've got over the last 15 years of my life, being around those guys every day, whether it's in whether it's in competition, whether it's we're just goofing around on my pontoon boat. I watch mannerisms and I watch things about that Greg Hackney level, Aaron Martin level, Kevin Van Dam level. And here's the thing, it is a different level.
Yep.
I am confident in this is the best answer I have if it makes any sense. They are able to process when they are doing something wrong faster than the mass that they're competing against. What a natural tendency of a bass fisherman, whether you're a local, regional, or professional, if you go out and suck, just have a bad day. A lot of times we're trying to process the adjustments we have to make to turn it into a successful day. And what ends up happening is we get in our truck and we go home and we think about it and we're like, God, you know those drives where you're like, where did I mess up?
I have them all the time.
They are able to do that exponentially faster and better than the predominant population of people that hold a fishing rod. I'm dead serious.
Shaw Griggs,
those guys, you can be in the boat with them, and it takes them 9 minutes to go, this is not the gig.
Yep, you're right. They're quick to make that choice.
They're
you're
quick
right.
to make that deal. And here's what it is. that is the deal. To know when you're screwing up, compared to, look, when you're catching them, you know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's when you're able to so in light speed fast, laser fast go, this is wrong and this is right. And here's what's amazing is, when they say, I need to be doing this instead, there is no hesitation, there is no second guessing, and there is no questioning the confidence that they made that decision with.
Yeah, you're right.
I watched it. And here's what I can tell you. I'm extremely envious of it.
Yeah. We did an interview at ICAST with Shaw Grigsby. Shaw Grigsby said, he was the first guy to inform me of this rule change, and he said it will be a game changer, period.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Mark Zona.
Totally agree.
Thank you, brother. I mean, 3 years in a row, we've had you our last show of the year.
Yes.
And you can't know how much that means to us that you take time. I mean, because you're trying to hunt, you're trying to get a little bit of fishing, whatever.
Oh, he got pictures. We got pictures of his hunt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he sent this.
I thought it was pictures of him shaving his legs.
No, we don't have that yet. We're working
Guys,
on it.
let me tell you one thing. The next time I am with Acme during the summer,
Yeah.
I will make sure our holiday edition is loaded with our exact behavior that you have proof. I'm not the only one joining in.
We need to get y'all on at the same time. That would be even better.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, just make sure you have an edit button real handy.
Thank you, Mark Zona. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and a wonderful New Year.
Guys, y'all are the best. And seriously, thank you for having me on, and keep up the great work. Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Mark.
Elite Series Pro, Mark Zona, host of ESPN's The Bassmasters, just an incredible guy, always a hoot. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30, The Tiger.
Ruben right here, and if you missed a portion of today's show, tune in Saturday mornings from 6 until 8 here on 1130 The Tiger. This segment is presented by Natchitoches Ford, Wildwood Resort, and Toledo Bend, Davis Clothing and Outdoor, and Bass Cash Bash. Catch a tagged fish for your chance to win $400,000 in cash and prizes. Don't be that guy. Go to basscashbash.com to learn more and register now. Once again, here's Gary, Steve, and Mike.
Thank you for tuning in. Okay, Ruben. For the big money, we're going to spin the big wheel here. For the big money, Bass Cash Bash real fast 3 times without cursing.
Oh, I'm gonna need to ride the button here. I don't think so. I like my job. Thanks.
Yeah, the Gary McCoy along with the Ranger Dial with Pro Staffer Steve Graff, the old mud hen Mike Eccles is here, and we got a little word from K2 Coolers.
Yeah, we've done a little interview today and want to thank
Rick
for coming on. I won't say Neil. Thank Rick for coming on board with us and talking about K2 Coolers and give us a little insight as to what that's all about. Again, if you're looking for a great cooler locally, you can go to Paul's Farm and Garden right there on North Market in Shreveport. Paul has a great selection of K2 coolers. It's a great Christmas gift idea for that hunter, fisherman, family guy that wants to go on a picnic, whatever. So many sizes to choose from, tailgating, hunting trips, family gatherings. It's a real cooler at a real affordable price. Make sure you check them out. Louisiana-made product, K2 coolers, right there. Paul's Farm and Garden, North Market in Shreveport.
Okay, Eccles has run across something. Did you just get your new edition of Outdoor Life or something?
No,
I mean,
no, I don't take Outdoor Life. It doesn't have a fold out.
Oh, you
have
want
a
the
centerfold.
centerfold.
That's right. That's right. But one of our listeners, David Glass, sends me this stuff, and a lot of it is, I mean, it's all good, but some of it just jumps out. And
You just gave me a great idea. We need to have our own magazine, have our own centerfold, or fold out, as Mike would call it. We need to come up with our own.
well, when that folds out, then we have a pop-up.
Take it away, Mike.
Anyway, this article this article was called 10 myths about blood trailing.
Okay.
And when I printed it, I cut the guy's name off. So I did. Well, I better be glad it was his name. Anyway, this guy has tracked over, in 5 decades, has tracked over 1,000 deer. And he's unquestionably one of the most knowledgeable deer trackers in the country. Him and his wife work together, and they do books and tapes on tracking and tracking dogs and finding wounded deer. But this was myths about it, and I'm going to go through them try to get them all in. Myth number 1, wait after the shot. Wait after the shot. Bow hunters have been trained for 50 years to wait after the shot, but waiting is not always the best approach. For starters, after any shot, you need to thoroughly inspect the location where the animal was standing when the shot was taken. You need to do this while it's still fresh in your mind. Too many hunters fail to mark the exact location of the impact site. And if you are 15 or 20 yards off on where that deer was standing, you may never find the blood trail.
One of the things I told the boys to do, when you pull the trigger on the deer, immediately look, after when he runs, because 90% of them are going to run. When he runs, mark where that tree is, then follow where the last spot is where you see the deer. But I've always said, don't wait. Go ahead here in about 5-10 minutes. Go ahead and get down and go take your ball cap or something. Mark where he was. Don't follow him any further.
Right.
Back out of there.
Because you might push him if he's still like that.
Right. You don't want to bump him.
Well, I've always heard it's 30 minutes. Do you guys go by that 30-minute rule?
Depending on whether I got anything to eat with me or not. Myth number 2, give him time to stiffen up. Deer only stiffen up after they die. So forget about the stiffen up theory. They lie down because they are very sick or have reached a place where they think they can safely lie down. That's important. You do not necessarily want to bump a wounded deer out of its bed, but there are times when it's good to get on a wounded deer and stay on it. Certain muscle and bone hits produce bleeding, which will lead to the death if enough blood is lost. Pushing the deer can keep the heart pumping at an elevated level, which can stimulate blood loss and work against the blood coagulation and healing. That's myth number 2. Number 3, a gut shot deer is a lost deer. That's a myth. Sadly, not all of our arrows fly true. Some go same goes for our bullets. Over half of a deer's body mass lies behind the diaphragm. Over half of his body mass is behind the diaphragm, which is considered a gut shot. Deer shot a little back are not lost deer. Gut shot deer typically die 8 to 12 hours after being shot. These are the deers you don't want to rouse from their bed or unnecessarily pressure. When you pick up a green slimed arrow and it smells like a barn, you don't have to go home without your deer. You can just go back to the cap, wait better part of the day before you get after it. A gut shot deer will always almost always wind up dead. You just don't want him to die in the next township.
Now, this is 2 things that I've learned about that. Gut shot deer are hard to trail. Because those guts will seal the hole.
They'll run a long way.
And you don't have any blood.
You have not hit them in an area that's going to bleed.
Right. And the second thing that I have found is if there is any water, any creek, anything, anywhere close by, that deer is headed to that water.
Okay, myth number 4, pick him up in the morning. I've had coyotes beat me to a dead deer twice in the last 5 years. Once I waited until morning to track, and once I got back to the camp and had a bowl of chili before heading out to pick up what I sure was a dead deer. Another time, a bear moved over the carcass of a dead deer. So that picking him up in the mud. But what he doesn't mention here is a problem we have. We don't have a big problem with bears, but we do have a lot of coyotes, and we do have a lot of hogs.
Uncle Gary shot a deer one evening in Grand Cane. Yeah. And we said, we'll go get him in the morning. It was cold. Next morning we got over there. I'm telling you right now, the coyotes there wasn't anything left but eyeballs. Well, and a lot of people are confused. Here's a rule of thumb: if something has gotten to your deer and it has eaten the meat off the bones, it's a coyote. If it has broken the bones, the ribs, it's a hog. Wow.
Really?
Yeah, they will crush the ribs. They will break them and eat them.
Are they as quick at finding a dead animal as a?
Absolutely. There's 50 times more hogs in the woods than there are coyotes.
Well, true.
Okay.
Yeah.
A wounded deer always heads for water. Deer often go to water, but not necessarily because they have been wounded. A wounded deer will generally head for an area where it has bedded before or an area where it feels secure. It may or may not have anything to do with water. A deer that routinely beds on a high spot in a swamp may well head for that spot, but for safety, not to drink. A wounded deer may cross a river, stream, or a beaver pond, but not because it feels like a swim. A gut-shot deer will most likely head for water as fever sets in and it has an urge to drink.
What I tell you.
Yeah.
You was right.
Well, I just every time I've ever seen one, usually it was a young kid or me that had gut shot one.
Okay, myth number 6: wounded deer never head uphill. That's a myth. I wish I had a nickel for every wounded deer I've chased up the side of a mountain. They will go uphill and come down the other side if they feel like it. Of course, a deer with a wound that impairs mobility will most likely shy away from steep climb, but don't let the old myth about a wounded deer not going uphill keep you from heading up if the signs are pointing that way.
Be dog. Okay.
Yes.
I had heard that too.
Okay,
jumping a fence. Wounded deer ain't gonna jump a fence.
Shoot, absolutely. Now he may land dead on the other side of the fence.
Yeah,
and I've actually seen that.
Yeah,
that's as far as they got was over the fence. An arrow in the lung means a dead deer. Myth. It's if only that were true. Put a well-placed arrow through one or both lungs, and you will generally have a dead deer. But on occasion, hunters have opened deer showing where a broadhead has pierced the lung and the deer survived to fight another day.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it's not a guaranteed killing shot.
Wow.
Generally the wound is high on the lungs if they live through it. Almost always just one lung. I have personally, and this is this guy article, I personally killed 2 deer who were shot through one lung a season or more earlier. When discussing my finding with folks who know something about how organs work in wound trauma, they theorized that the wounded lung collapsed, stopped working, and the wound healed over.
Well, I'll be done. My Uncle Gary killed a deer in Grand Cane one time that we opened up, and it had a broadhead right in the butthole.
Really?
I mean, somebody had shot that deer right in the butthole.
Carry on, Mike.
Gay Bobs.
Gay Bobs.
Myth number 8: down is dead. Sometimes a deer shot with a rifle or a shotgun go down like a pile of bricks. The gun goes off and the deer goes down instantly. The hunter congratulates himself and goes to the little victory dance or some other foolish thing like pouring a cup of coffee and heading to the truck for lunch. What the hunter should be doing is keeping the deer covered with the firearm at the ready for the second shot. Instant drops are often the results of nervous system shocks, which can dissipate with time. The deer regains its equilibrium and is off to the races. Hits near the spine can cause this reaction and occasionally do. Be sure the deer is dead. And all the way dead.
Especially when you've loaded them up on the tractor and everything. You know.
But, I mean, everybody's seen that. They shot a deer that just collapsed.
Yeah, this falls over like
4
a
or 5 minutes
potato.
later, they look up and the deer's standing up and it runs off.
Yeah.
And they're not ready to shoot it again.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9. No blood means no deer. Occasionally, you'll find a hunter who gives up on a deer because there is no blood. Hunters are obligated to do everything in their power to stay on the trail of the deer that has been shot or shot at. Sometimes a well-hit deer doesn't show blood for as much as 100 yards or even longer. All kinds of things can happen to prevent blood from exiting a wound. Anyone who owns a tracking dog can tell you all kinds of story about following a deer for exceeded distance without any blood. So just because you don't have blood doesn't mean you didn't hit the deer, and it doesn't mean he's not going to die.
Right.
And the last one, a dog will find him. Not necessarily. Tracking dogs are a wonderful asset, but they are not miracle workers. A bad hit is a bad hit, and no tracking dog in the world can recover a marginally hit deer. Even the best dog has no hope of recovering a buck, which is in the next county chasing does. So that's it. 10 myths about...
And if it's extremely dry conditions with a dog, that dust gets in their nasal cat and they don't smell as well.
That's when the fish are looking up?
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
I was just wondering when
Same
fish,
time.
that time of the year when the fish are looking up.
That's right.
Okay,
that's in the spring. That's May, early May, late April, early May.
Hook it up and track it down. 11:30. The Tiger.
Now the goose is on the table.
You looking for some great hunting tips? Check out our new website at HUTDshow.com. Loaded with video tips that are sure to make you a better hunter and fisherman. This segment is presented by Nichols Department Stores, Gamakatsu hooks, S-Pro lures, and K2 coolers. Durable, heavy-duty, and lightweight coolers with real value that keep items real cold at a price that's real easy on the wallet. One more time, here's four guys that are real serious about the outdoors. Gary McCoy, Steve Graff, and Mike Eccles.
If you look at these napkins around here, we're real serious about eating.
About eating.
This pizza that Billy and Linda Phipps sent us. Thank you.
Dude.
Here's your K2 Coolers best times to hunt or fish. This weekend is rated as very good on Friday, with Saturday and Sunday rated as fair. Cold temperatures return to the Arklatex with a 60% chance of rain on Friday and 20% both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday's that Christmas Eve thing, isn't it?
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah.
Okay.
Your last day to shop.
Okay, temperatures on Friday will temperatures on Friday we'll see a high of 73 and a low of 40. Saturday's temperatures will range from 55 the high and low 35. Sunday will be even colder with a high of 51 and freezing 25 degree for the low. The moon phase will be increasing from 12% on Friday to 21% on Sunday. Best times are going to be late afternoon all 3 days. Friday, 2:11 to 5:11 p.m. Sunrise will be 7:08. Sunset, 5:13. Saturday, 92:57.
92:57?
Yeah. 2:57.
What's the problem, Mike?
Is that military time? 92:50.
That's space time.
2:57 to 5:57 p.m. Sunrise will be 7:09. Sunset 5:14. Sunday 3:42 to 6:42 p.m. Sunrise 7:09. Sunset 5:14. This has been your K2 Coolers. Best times to hunt, fish, or take a nap.
Okay, I got a couple of questions. One for you, Steve.
All right.
Are they catching the white perch down on Sibley Lake there at your house yet?
Seen a couple of boats each day out there, but they don't don't stay long, so that tells me they're not biting. When I
Okay.
start seeing 15 of them out there, they're biting.
Okay.
So I will let you know.
Speaking of white perch, Mike, anybody catching fish there at the port on Lake Vistano? Anything that you're hearing about?
Well, I'm hearing about it, but we're not seeing them because we're fishing down
Further
the
south,
lake.
yeah.
But yes, they are catching them. They are starting to catch them on Caddo Lake up in the river.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Up around Johnson's?
yes.
Yeah.
My advice to anybody: the white perch are biting in deep water. They are staying. I mean, they're only biting in the places that are 700 or 800 yards away from any duck blinds.
That's what I heard.
You know,
Yeah. If you see a duck blind, you're way too close.
You cannot catch any white perch. I mean, that's just use that. Just get as far away from the
Great
duck
rule of
blind,
thumb.
and you will catch more white perch.
Okay.
And less likely to get shot at.
Now, you know what I got to ask. I mean, this is our last live show of 2017.
Okay, you won't know about the boss.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're probably the fourth person today.
Well, I'm asking for the other three.
Okay.
They all asked me to ask you.
I am working on it, and the only thing I can tell you is that everything will be out by the boat show, which will be
January 19th.
Yeah, and that's what I tell everybody every year. We will be the first Saturday of the month, starting in February, going through May. Championship will be the first full Saturday and Sunday in June.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be your dates. That's the most important thing. What we're dealing with right now is finding 4 lakes.
You thought last year was a challenge.
Yeah. Yep.
Last year seems like a cakewalk compared to this year.
It was a lot easier than I thought it was.
Have you ruled out dual lake deal again?
No, I haven't. But there's an issue with the wildlife and fisheries that I'm dealing with that may rule it out for me.
Okay.
Now tell me this: the best you could see right now, with where they are holding Bistano, down as late as that. Is Bistano going to be a non-player at all this year for essentially any tournaments until way late?
You can talk to one group of authorities,
Uh-huh.
and I say authorities not because they know what they're talking about, but because that's their jobs.
Yeah.
That will tell you that the gates will be closed on Bistano sometime 1st of January. You can talk to another group that will tell you categorically it will not be. Will be closed. Did I say not will be? No,
That's
will
what you
be.
said,
Will
yeah.
not be closed until March the 1st.
Yeah.
So
Well, one of the groups that I heard from said that they were not going to begin whatever work has to be done until after the first of the year, and therefore they could not close the gates until whatever work it is they're going to do is completed.
And I don't really think that the work being done is really the issue. I think it's an excuse.
Ah.
I think they're wanting to keep the lake drawn down a little bit further. Right now, you have to look at and I know this is going to happen. Somebody's going to say, I was listening to the radio show. Mike Eccles said this is what the schedule is going to be. As far as Bistano being a player, right now the safe bet would be if it's on the list, it would have to be May.
Might have to be late in the year. Yeah.
Because if they hold the gates open until March 1st, you can't.
You don't have enough
guarantee-
time.
Although Bistano and Grand Bayou and Black Lake have incredible watersheds.
Mm-hmm.
Bistano has been above pool with the gates open before.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Above pool with the gates open.
Now, was that with the year
That
of
means
the
we got
flood?
some serious rain.
I don't know.
Was that?
Well, Ricky Lee said it was in his yard and they had the gates wide open.
Wow.
So, so you have to assume that you will have rains in the
Right,
spring,
right.
March, April, May.
Jump it up.
I would have assumed we'd had more than 2 inches of rain in 4 months this fall, but we didn't.
Right.
And question, will Bistano be on there? I'm thinking it will, but I'm thinking if it is, it will be the last tournament just as because I can't take a chance on putting it any sooner.
Right.
And the only other lakes we've got, Black Lake, we have no idea about that. It's drained. I don't know when they're going to close the gates. If it fills back up, I don't know what the Salvania is going to look like. Would love to go back to Black Lake. Right now, don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Well,
Caddo
The
does
worst thing I can do
is do anything.
yield to the fisherman's pressure, thinking that they've got to know a month ahead and put out a schedule and then it not work out and have to change it.
right.
Because once something in print, they just will not accept a change.
I almost think you'd do a mystery circuit.
And that's what I would like.
A mystery circuit. You don't
Show
announce
up, you
till
don't know,
Monday.
You know how we did that thing where we all showed up at Bayou that morning,
Yeah.
and I would love if we had a tournament like that? Everybody shows up at Bayou on a Saturday morning, and we find out where we're going.
Yeah, 100 trucks and boats.
Yeah.
And we're going to drive someplace.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could pull up in a parking lot somewhere at the boat show.
Well, you know, that would be great for the 15 or 20 anglers teams that would enter it.
Yeah, it's not a mass appeal kind of a thing. Oh, speaking of 15% off right now if you will head to Bellevue after February. Bellevue Meat Processing obviously does an incredible job. They had a record year this year, and because of that, it got things kind of backed up. And I'll be real honest. Chris and Carla, two of the finest people that you could ever want to know, and they came right out and they said, hey,
stop.
Whoa.
Yeah, please stop.
I mean, record numbers of deer, record numbers of processing. And so what they have offered is that if you will wait, if you'll go ahead and quarter that deer that you've got, put it in the freezer, and then bring it to them after February 1st, they will give you a 15% discount on your processing. And I don't know, what all you're going to get done, but that 15%, that goes a long ways to getting some sausage or something along those lines.
Hamburgers.
So it could be that you just keep it there at your house for that's what I'm doing.
And along with the myths that we just read, that's one of the biggest myths in the world is that once meat's frozen and thawed out, you can't refreeze it.
Right.
Meat in the grocery store is frozen and thawed several times before Brookshire's or Kroger's gets it.
You hear that, Sherry?
So do not worry about that. If that's an option, save the money, help Chris and Carla, and take your deer in February. It will not. Got a text from Pete Camp. He's one of the guys that has a lot vested down on Lake Bistineau and is on one of the boards, the task force, or I don't know the correct name, but he's telling me Bistineau gates will close March positively. So Pete's a good guy.
Yeah, Pete ought to know.
Yep.
And also, real quick, one more time, the Bass Cash Bash. Again, don't be that guy. 3 lakes to choose from. If you're getting ready to go, I know the circuits are cranking up earlier this year for the BFL, the Ram Truck Tour. Our first BFL tournament on Sam Rayburn is the first weekend of January. We have never started that early. And we'll have the last week of January. We'll have 2 tournaments for the BFL in the books, and we ain't even hit February 1st yet. So if you're looking to go to Sam Rayburn and spend a lot of time over there fishing, don't go over there and be that guy. Sign up. I've got an entry blank right here. It's got an envelope. You can actually fill it out, put your money in there for the Bass Cash Bash. Got all the information you need to know on the entry form. And so make sure you sign up, turn it in. And, again, it's $50. You just spend that much just in gas on one trip. So pay the money.
Billy and Linda spent way over that on pizza.
Oh, I guarantee that. Hey, thank you, Billy and Linda. That was awesome.
Hey, listen, I want to thank you guys for you missed. That's why you fish and hunt, is because you suck at basketball, Eccles.
Story of my life. Did you see how close I came?
No, you were not close at all.
Close, but no cigar.
No, you didn't even hit the rim.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the commode.
I just wanted to wish you guys a Merry Christmas, and every week I'm amazed that y'all put up with me. So thank you.
We've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Y'all.
Well, I thought the fire department was the greatest job in the world. This is the second greatest job I've ever had.
There you go. There you go.
Well, Merry Christmas, boys.
You too. Both of y'all. All right. Here's this year's final word.
Wow, this year's
final word. This year has truly flown by, and as the old saying goes, time flies when you're having fun. And that's just what we have here every single Wednesday from 11 till 1. Fun. I could not have asked Santa for 2 better co-hosts than Mike Eccles and Gary McCoy, along with the best producer and Jay Watley. These 3 guys have given me more pleasure than watching Larry the Cable Guy.
Don't say we gave you pleasure.
Well, you wouldn't believe what I was going to put in there, but I had to take it out. While we have all had our egos here at the show, we also understand the importance of each other and what each of us brings to the show. We also understand that without our great group of sponsors and you, our audience, there is no Hooking Up and Tracking Down show. So for Mike Eccles, Gary McCoy, Jay Wiley, and yours truly, Steve Graff, we want to wish you and your family a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2018. We'll see you next year, January 3rd, for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down here on 1130 The Tiger.